Good morning, students. Today we will begin with a new chapter, health organizations. In the last class, we discussed about the aids to health, right? So today, the new chapter is health organization. It's a very short chapter and very easy chapter. Clear? We have to learn about the Red Cross, World Health Organization, and their activity. It's a very short chapter, clear? And most easiest chapter. So we'll see Red Cross activities and WHO major activities. So before that, let us see the common health problems in India. Alright, so what are the major health issues in India? So before that, we can see that mainly in India, alright, depending on the type of place where we used to live or where we used to survive, which is called a habitat or the habitations. So simply, we have got 5 types of habitations where the populations, where the individuals used to live. So what are those 5 types of habitations where the populations are simply distributed or where they are usually present? So first one is big cities. Alright, so which are big cities? We will see multi-story buildings, right? We will see the too many vehicles, there is water supply, electrical supply, there is too much of pollutions. And usually it is overcrowded. It is called big cities. So the first habitations where the populations are distributed. Second habitations, small towns, not so crowded, less pollution. Alright. The next one, villages, very small populations based on agricultural products. Alright, they will go for poultry farming, will go for dairy farming. Next one, remote areas. Alright, next one is the remote areas. Where you find the tribal people, they mostly thrive on the forest products, alright, on use of forest and the livelihood. They don't have the proper drinking water supplies, not any medical facilities. And last one is the slum area, which are very unhygienic conditions. So like you have slum areas where there is no proper, we can say, proper supply of drinking water, there is no proper maintenance of cleanliness, and no proper maintenance of, let's say, we can say that hygienic conditions. So we can say that in some areas we will find more pollutions, right, unhygienic conditions, and people are more prone to diseases. So therefore, we will find 5 types of habitations where people are distributed: big cities, small towns, villages, remote areas, and the slums. Clear? And depending on the types of habitations, there are different types of diseases also, or the health problems also. So mostly you know that the different types of diseases are mainly being borne by the water, by the air, and by the food that we take. So because mainly the harmful germs, they are mainly being transmitted by the help of water, food, and air. Clear? So here we can say that depending on the 5 types of habitations where the populations are distributed, we have different types of health problems. Number 1, food and waterborne diseases. There are no diseases which are transmitted by the food and by the water. It can be diarrhea, typhoid, dysentery, and the problems of our gastrointestinal tract. Okay, so these are the diseases which are transmitted by the food and waterborne diseases. Number 2, insect and airborne diseases. It's mainly simply due to the lack of general cleanliness, like in some areas, okay, which lead to the breeding sites for the houseflies and the mosquitoes. Because mosquitoes are the vector for the parasite that causes malaria. Malaria is caused by a protozoan called Plasmodium, and that Plasmodium usually completes its life cycle, 1 in the mosquito and number 2 in the human beings. So therefore we have to keep our surroundings very clean to avoid the breeding of mosquitoes. And houseflies are simply the carrier. They will help in the transfer of germs from one place to another place. Okay, over here you have to remember 2 terms. Housefly is a carrier, carrier, carrier of germs. Clear? And mosquitoes, they are the vectors. Now what is the difference between carrier and the vector? In carrier, like horsefly, alright, they will simply help in the transfer of germs from one place to another place. Clear? But in vectors like mosquito, the parasites or the germs are dependent. Clear? Dependent to complete their life cycle. So in vectors, the parasites will complete half of their life cycles. Clear? And the rest of the life cycle will be completed in the secondary hosts like the human beings. Okay, so for example, Plasmodium that causes malaria, it will complete half of its life cycle in mosquito and half in the human being. So these are the different types of health problems depending on the 5 types of habitations. And simply the diseases are mainly caused by the food and the waterborne germs or diseases, and number 2 by the insects and the airborne diseases. So depending on the habitations, we have got different types of diseases also. So can you remember what are the different types of human habitations? And number 2, what are the different types of human health problems depending on the 5 types of habitations. Clear? Now next one, what are the different types of international bodies? Here are simply 2 types I mentioned you earlier also. Red Cross and WHO. WHO means World Health Organization. So 2 most important international bodies are concerned with people here. And what are those international bodies? They are simply Red Cross and World Health Organizations. Now we have to simply look into the activity of Red Cross and WHO. Alright? So let's begin with Red Cross. Is the symbol of Red Cross? Now Red Cross was formally founded in 1864. It's a national as well as international agencies. Main function, remember, the main function of Red Cross is to perform activities which should prevent or remove human sufferings, including during the time of war. That during the time of war also, Red Cross has to come into action. The image of the Red Cross Society is a red colored cross. Okay, it's a red colored cross painted on a white background. So the background must be white and it's a red colored cross. So this is the symbol of Red Cross. Clear? Let's see the activity of Red Cross. First activity, to extend relief and help to the victims of any calamity, whether the calamity can be of flood, fire, famine, earthquake, etc. Red Cross has to come into action during these natural calamities. Clear? Next one, to procure and supply blood for the needy victims of war or other calamity. That it has to supply the blood also. To extend all possible first aid treatment in any accident. So if any major accident occurs, then the possible first aid treatment has to be given by the Red Cross. To educate people in accident prevention, so we have to create an awareness. We have to provide people with educations about the prevention of accident, how to prevent the accidents, and what needs to be done during if the accident may occur. To arrange for the ambulance service in all the emergencies. To look after maternal and child welfare center. Maternal means mother. Clear? That means Red Cross also have to look about the health of the mother and the child through the maternal and the child welfare center. Next one, the Indian Red Cross Society has also been engaged in training midwives. So these are the major activities of the Red Cross, and therefore May 8th is observed as the Red Cross Day. So it's very, very easy. Go through the book, all the points are there, clear? So once you go through the book, it will be clear for you. It's very, very easy. Clear? Next one. WHO, World Health Organizations, was founded in 1948. Specialized agency of the United Nations Organizations or UNO. It was founded in 1948. So what are the reasons for the foundation or establishing WHO? So I take this from the book, so kindly go through it. Look over here. Member countries of the UNO means United Nations Organization focused on need for creating an international body to look after the health problems of the people of the world. That means those who are the members of the UNO, they came to the thought that an international body must be created that can look after the health of the people all over the world. If any type of disease will occur, alright, like for example coronavirus presently, if such type of disease or a virus will occur in the world, then how can we tackle those diseases? How can we control these diseases or those viruses? So in this particular case, an international body has to be created that will look into this matter to control the transmission of diseases and to control or to maintain the health of an individual organism. So those members of the UNO came forward with this particular concept. This was particularly felt in the field of research on the causes and cure of diseases. So how to control the diseases and what are the possible measures for the treatment of the diseases. So these were the major concerns of those organizations, and mainly they came forward to control the transmission of the diseases. Alright? The combat efforts in the directions were to give even better and faster results. The poor and the developing countries were to benefit quickly. So keeping in mind all the factors like how to control the transfer of diseases, how to control the transfer of viruses, and how to cure diseases, the members of the UNO came forward by forming or establishing the international body called WHO, means World Health Organization. So WHO has 6 regional offices in the world, including in Delhi. Alright? So all of these agencies will work taking into considerations the health of an individual and on doing proper research in the field of medical science, or by creating vaccines or the medicines for treatment of diseases, or by forming a vaccine for the viruses. Recently also WHO are working for creating a vaccine for controlling the coronavirus. In fact, each and every country they are usually working in the field of creating a vaccine for coronaviruses. And all the research work are usually monitored or controlled by WHO. So under WHO, all the countries, all the agencies they are working, alright, in the field of creating a medicine or a vaccine for any sort of diseases or any sort of viruses. And the headquarters of WHO is located in Geneva, you can remember. The headquarters of WHO is located in Geneva in Switzerland. Clear? Now let's see the major activities of WHO. So what are the major activities of WHO like that of Red Cross? Number 1, to collect and supply information about the occurrence of diseases. So that means they will work with the fellow country, alright, mainly to collect and supply information about the occurrence of diseases of epidemic nature, such as cholera, plague, typhoid, typhus, etc. Recently also coronavirus also. WHO are mainly collecting the information about the occurrence of coronavirus. Clear? Mainly from China, right? They are collecting the samples and information about the spreading of this pandemic. This epidemic is called the coronavirus. So WHO are working on that also. Alright, they are collecting information, they are collecting the samples of viruses, and they are working on that to create many vaccines. To promote and support projects for research on disease such as cancer. So second one, WHO are working, they are promoting research work also to control the different types of diseases. Okay, so they will promote and support the projects which are being done, research which are being done on different types of diseases. Number 3, to supply information on the latest developments about the use of vaccines. So they will work to create a vaccine. So therefore they will supply information on the latest development in the field of medicines, on the field of creating a machine. So whatever the machine will be created, they will supply the information about that particular machine. To suggest quarantine measures to prevent spread of diseases, like in coronavirus, we have to go for quarantine, like those who are going for all the cities, right? For all these states, they are going for the 14 days quarantine. So all these particular preventive measures are under the guidelines of WHO. In all the countries, they have to follow the guidelines as given by WHO. Alright, so they will set the preventive measures like contact measures for this prevention of diseases. Next one, to lay pharmaceutical standards for important drugs to ensure purity and size of the dose. That means whatever medicines will be produced, alright, their testing, their impact has to be tested. So what will be the side effect? It has to be known. Because whatever the drugs will be produced, they have to go for testing. Because we have to know what can be the side effect of using that medicines. Clear? So if any type of medicines, any type of medicines or the drugs will be produced, they have to go for quality testing to ensure their purity and size of the dose. Next one, to organize campaigns for the control of epidemic, widespread and endemic local diseases. Look over the term endemic and epidemic. If the virus will spread throughout the world, like coronavirus, it is called epidemic. But if it will be locally transferred, like Ebola, it is called endemic. So these are the major activities of the WHO. So in this chapter, what we will learn? We have learned about the health organization. Just remember the different types of habitations. There are 5 types of habitations regarding the population distributions. Alright, they will have thing. Number 3, remember the health problems depending on the different health habitations. And the most important, remember what are the different types of international bodies. First one was Red Cross Society, and number 2 is World Health Organizations. Remember the year in which they were founded, clear? And most important, go through their major activities or role of Red Cross Society and the World Health Organization. It is a very short, very easy chapter. So kindly go through this chapter through your textbook. Alright. Notes I will supply through the WhatsApp group. Clear? So go through this chapter. Very short and very easy. Clear? So everything will be clear for you once you go through the textbook. So this is for today. In next class we will begin with the new